One of the Canadian teams to watch this NHL offseason by far is going to be the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think that they are a team that is going to obviously go through massive changes now. It's funny to me that those changes are going to be part and parcel of Mitch Marner forcing the Maple Leafs' hand and not the other way around. I want to remind you guys watching this video that Mitch Marner forced their hand and that the Toronto Maple Leafs were trying to sign Mitch Marner this entire season. Let's not forget that. Okay, so I don't want to give the Leafs too much of a break here because they were, and I'll bet you any money that they are still going to try to sign him this offseason, which I do not think that they should do. This mix of players is just simply not working. He has not been good enough in big games. I just want to get that out of the way. So, but this is going to be one of the most interesting off seasons in the, whatever core 4 era or whatever the hell you want to call it. That we've seen in a long time, and they need big changes, and they need to treat young players not harshly, but to put their stamp on the team and really push for the contract that isn't going to be completely team friendly, but they need to push for a contract that helps the player and the team. Let's not forget, when all of these players signed, Nylander, Matthews, especially Marner, they got everything they wanted from the Leafs. 6 years. You don't have to sign for 8 years. We'll give you 6 years. They need to really be more firm on young players that are RFAs, in my opinion. And there is an insider claim that the Maple Leafs and Matthew Knies have made progress on a contract, insider claims. The expectation this summer is that the Toronto Maple Leafs will be going through some massive changes on their roster, considering the high possibility they lose both Mitchell Marner and John Tavares, who are both expected to hit the open market. Some fans are concerned about whether or not the Maple Leafs will be able to sign pending restricted free agent Matthew Knies to a new contract before free agency opens. But according to a recent report, the two sides made progress on a new contract during the season. I am actually really surprised on this. I didn't know that the Maple Leafs even talked to Matthew Knies in the season about a contract, but to be fair to Brad Treliving, a lot of what he talks about in the season is he likes to keep a lot of his contract negotiations very quiet, which is completely fine. I have no problem with that. Now, the article continues, and this is the part that I don't like, and I think that the Maple Leafs need to hold firm, and I hate it that they probably won't. The article continues. Now, there aren't many trustworthy reports that give a solid idea of what the new contract for Knies will look like, but it's safe to say that the Maple Leafs will likely want to get a long-term deal done to lock him up for 8 years. However, it's possible with the salary cap going up for the next few seasons that Knies would prefer a bridge deal that allows him to bet on himself and cash in bigger contract down the line if he continues to improve at both ends of the ice. Okay, I want to stand firm on this, completely firm on this. You need to say, absolutely not, we want to get 8 years. There are tons of other organizations that sign their players to a long-term deal. It happens all the time, okay? We're going to give you the payday. We can even give you up to $8 million. I have no problem with that, but you have to give the franchise security in terms of the contract. Every single contract that the Leafs have handed out, every single one has been a pro player contract, and I'm sick of it. I have no problem with meeting the player in the middle and giving him a darn good payday. I have no problem with that. I just hate it how the Leafs always capitulate. If Matthew Knies needs to sit out, just let him sit out. You have to be willing to go on the season without these guys. Let him sit out. If he goes past the December deadline, then he sits for the season, and then if he wants to request a trade, we'll request a trade. But at the end of the day, you have to stay firm on these guys. The article continues. If it's a short-term deal, I can see a contract coming in at $6.75 million annually over 3 seasons. If it ends up being a long-term deal, I can see a contract coming down to $6 million, touch about $6 million over 8 seasons. Insider Elliot Friedman doesn't believe the two sides will have many issues getting a deal done, but but it's interesting to see what a new contract ends up looking for the Leafs. Now, again, this is the thing I keep on going past, is does Elliot Friedman think that it's going to be easy for the Leafs because that they're going to capitulate to Matthew Knies? That's where I'm at with this. And I really just don't want the Leafs to do that. That is the biggest frustrating point of view. It's like every contract that the Leafs have done has always left me like rolling my eyes, where I'm like, come on, like you could do better than that. Now, I want to move on to this, that there are more insider reports of the article continues, Nick Ehlers and Brock Besser are more affordable options, and both of them have proven they can provide immense amount of offensive production. While Marner is looking for $14 million annually on his contract, neither Ehlers or Besser will even ask for $9 million annually, making them strong options and gives them more cap space to continue filling out depth as they try to remain contention next season. Time will tell if they are able to bring either star forward, but I would be surprised if they didn't try. This is where I'm at with this. So my opinion on this would be, I think that the Leafs should go ahead and get Nikolai Ehlers. He will pretty much be able to replace Marner's goal scoring. He is usually between 24 to 28 and 29 goals on a full year. Marner might be around that, maybe a little bit higher. I think Marner has gotten 30 plus goals before, but he generally will be able to replace Marner's goal scoring, which is good, and a decent amount of his points. He's usually on pace for about 75 points, whereas Marner's on pace for like 100. That is 25 points less that you're getting. It's a downgrade. There's no doubt about it, but they will be able to remain competitive. So if they bring in Nikolai Ehlers to play on that a left wing slot, so you have Knies and Ehlers, you could probably bring in Easton Cowan as a more depth forward. You could get more depth pieces, and you could probably be a much better team in my opinion, right? I just really would go after Ehlers. I don't mind Brock Besser, but he struggles to skate a little bit, so I'm not sure if I like that one in my personal opinion, but that's just me. Nikolai Ehlers is a hell of a good player. Now, unfortunately, he's 29 years old. I am really interested to see what Ehlers is going to get. If he chases money like crazy, he might even end up 9.5. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. So I'm really interested to see what exactly he ends up getting. Anyways, I'm going to leave this video here. If you could make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that, guys, and make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.